Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. In case you guys didn't know, they showed off 24 minutes of live Monster Hunter World footage. It's very similar to what I saw at E3, but of course it's live, so every time I saw it, it was something different. I thought their demo in Japan went really well, so I wanted to show you the video, but also narrate over it, both adding in my own commentary and also what they added, because a lot of you I know don't understand Japanese. So let's just jump right in here. First thing we're going to see here is that there's full voice acting. In Japanese, in the English demo, they had it all in English. You can actually change the settings if you wanted to go back to the, like Monster Hunter language. This girl here is just letting you know that there's sightings of a monster. They don't know much about it, only that it leaves a mucus-like substance, and she wants you to go track it down and take it out. This is actually, they confirmed here during this stream, is the actual quest girl in the game. So she is sort of our guild marm for the game, which is interesting. She actually comes with you, and she's over by camp. Fujioka-san did mention that you are able to go and take quests from her during a quest, like at camp, but that they would reveal details about that at a later time. So very interesting, the idea that you might be able to take on sub-quests during an actual quest, especially for those extended play sessions, because this is a console game. So she asked you to whip out your map, which you just saw there, which is huge. They said in interviews that this is about 2 times larger than the normal maps in Monster Hunter, and everything is seamless. It's not open world, but it's seamless. If you caught right there, you're able to eat meat as you're walking. You can also do potions as you are walking. And the whole idea, they're showing this tree up here, that's where we're going to go in the middle of this hunt. So keep an eye on that one. We're going to go all the way over there with it being seamless. The idea at the start of the hunt is he's using these scouting bugs, which are on a flask on your hip, and they will track the scent of your target monster. And after you do it enough times, they'll just guide you to where it is, which is going to be really handy because in a huge map like this, when a monster runs away, you're going to want to be able to track it. We're going to see another sub-boss. This is a large monster. This is the Great Jagras. It actually doesn't really care about hunters. It just has a crazy appetite. So you'll see it doing stuff like eating other monsters, throwing it up for its pack, and being a good old animal. But it really doesn't attack you unless it's been provoked. But this is a large monster, so you could just kill it if you want to, although it's not your target monster. They stated in interviews that I think up to 4 different large monsters, I could be wrong, maybe 3 or 5, I don't know. But a bunch of large monsters will appear in the map at any given time, so you're going to run into a lot more than just the monster on your quest. Look at how fast he's able to gather these materials. There's no more weird animations, stopping to grab stuff. It's just a swipe of the hand and we're ready to go. One of the things they're going to show off here is some stealth and also the slinger. So he's going to go and we're going to watch him and see what his sort of routine is, which is to throw up and to give food to his pack. Now the Jagras are really aggressive in a pack, so you don't want to get spotted by them. So he's going to show off here the stealth where he's hiding and not being noticed by just crouching in the vegetation. And he's going to use that slinger on his arm to throw a nut. And that will cause sound and have the animals will all react to it. So he doesn't want to get into a skirmish with these guys, so that's what he's doing. He's going to continue tracking down this mucus-like substance so they can find the target monster, which is, of course, looked kind of like T-Rexy, but I think you'll see in this hunt is actually a little bit more unique than that. So I was really happy because I don't think the trailer did a very good job of showing that off. Okay, after enough times, the scouting bugs will just pick up the entire scent, and you won't need to be tracking down any other sort of footprints or anything like that. They'll know where to go. I really like this idea where you do a little research up at the top and it really pays off in the overall hunt because these areas are so big. But it's not like Metal Gear Solid, like you have to track and be espionage or anything like that. So they're going to find him here in this very narrow cave. Now this monster attacks a little bit like Devil Joe in some ways, so definitely nimble and fast, so you don't want to be fighting it inside this cave. It's way too small. So he's going to hide here and he's going to draw it out of the cave using his slinger, which again, you can throw nuts or you can use it like a grappling hook to move around really fast. And so he's picking up the sound, so he's going to lure it outside of there for a more advantageous area to fight it. You could just fight it in there if you're like crazy good, I suppose. I don't think I would. I do like how the monster is crouching. You can see it definitely reacting to the environment. Smack him in the face. You can see the new stun animation there for the exhaust damage, which is nice. Just this little yellow sprinkle. He's going to end up putting meat here, and he's going to explain later what he's doing is he's trying to draw out the Jagras so he can show off sort of the power relationship between the Ajanath and what happens when you put them in the same rim together, so to say. So as you can tell, he's using the great sword. It's got all the actions you know and love, plus some new stuff, sort of like a shoulder charge where you can do some stun damage and do some cool new rolling attacks. You can definitely tell this monster has a lot more, I think, complicated AI patterns and movement patterns that we've seen in other games. If you really rewatch the video, you'll see it react to its environment a lot more rich than we've ever seen in Monster Hunter. You'll see it like kick at smaller monsters, try to kick at you. It's really interesting, like kicking him away there. They do have the damage numbers. You can take these off. I actually think I'll play with them on though, because it's really good, because the hitboxes, if you really pay attention, are a lot more complicated than they've ever been. Top of the tail, where it's really tough skin, is much harder than the underneath the tail and stuff like that. I think the numbers are not that invasive, and it really does help give a good sense of satisfaction when you do a really big attack or use the environment. So here you see he's lured the great Jagras with the meat, and now he's got them pitted up against each other. You can do stuff like this because each of the monsters have their own little, ecosystem, and if you learn that, you can really take advantage of it to either get some free materials, to really open up here. Like obviously the Ajanath is super open here to attack, so he can build up and do some big stuff, maybe lay some barrel bombs and stuff. So you can really use the environment to your advantage, which is pretty cool. Now you see the Ajanath is like, wait, what are you doing here? He's pretty upset. There is a target cam, which is great. You can see him using it every now and then. And now he needs to heal. So one of the things they were showing off here is that you can use potions while you're moving, which is great. He's actually going to go find a smoke sort of bomb plant. Watch this. Bam! Smacks it and it creates a smoke bomb. And you'll see this all throughout the game in the demos that they've done. Is they've taken a lot of the items like flashbangs, and now it's a flying insect that if you hit it, it creates a big flash. There's frogs that if you kick them create like a paralysis sort of area of attack. Like they've taken a lot of the more mundane but interesting items and they've baked it into the ecosystem. That is super cool. I really like how that works, although he did fail, and the Ajanath knew exactly where he was when he was doing the potion. You can actually evade out of the potions if you want to, because it does heal gradually, so you'll be able to take whatever you got and then invade out of it, so that's pretty good. So here at this point, if you notice, the bottom left just became white around the map. That means that the monster is no longer engaged in you. It seems that the Ajanath has said, well, you know what, I'm done with this, I've got better things to do. And it's running away, and this is where you see the Scotty bugs coming out again and starts to follow the monster and let you know where it's going. If it's red, it means that the monster is engaged, and the Scotty bugs will get scared and go back in your flask. So here he's trying to lure him, or I guess follow him, to an area where there's more opportunities for him to do some more mounting attacks. You'll notice this tree here with vines. He's going to try to mount him and then sort of lure him to shake him off and hit the tree. So getting mounts looks really interesting. Now in this game, when you mount a monster, it tries to knock you off. So if it's on its head, he'll shake his head and you've got to move off of it. Sort of like Shadow of the Colossus or something like that. So you see he's on his back, so he's going to try to check him off right here, and he's going to knock into that tree, which knocks down the vines and traps him. He's going to keep attacking, and after you've done this and won the struggle, so to say, you get the option to do a special attack with your actual main weapon, and that will knock the monster over, obviously giving you a huge opening to do some big attacks. So here we go. Bam! Knock him over. Feels good, man. You do notice that they're not using the triple charge. I think it's because they didn't want to accidentally kill the monster too fast, because they have a lot of things they want to show off in this demo. Some cool new moves right there. That bam! A real sense of weight when you hit. It's just so good. This team really knows what they're doing. Look at those wings come out, right? So now the monster is enraged. He is really ticked off. And one of the special, I guess, characteristics of the Ajanath is that when this thing gets upset, it will follow you no matter where you go. So they're going to use that to their advantage. This is a great way to demo how you can use the environment to your advantage. So they're going to lure that Ajanath all the way up the top of the tree that we saw in the very beginning. Because you can imagine in an environment like this, the strongest monsters live atop, the environment. So he's going to try to lure him up to the Rathalos nest and really screw him up. And it's going to actually result in some really funny things. During the demo I saw at E3, the monster Ajanath accidentally got out of enrage before he got him up to the top, and he put on a taunt mantle. It was like a mantle, not like the ghillie mantle that you saw, which is like sneaking around, but it was actually really shiny and made lots of noise and clingy, and it sort of made it so the monster was lured towards you again. I think that's pretty cool. They even showed us in the E3 demo, in one of them, he had Rock Steady Mantle, which allows, it was like a really heavy armor, allowed him to get hit and have the armor skill Rock Steady without having to worry about your armor, which was pretty cool. So here we can just see he's learned him up. He's using his slinger here to sort of take shortcuts, which is really cool, almost like Bionic Commando in a way. I wonder if they're reusing any of the code and the learning they did from Bionic Commando. I'm sure they are. Lure this thing up the map. This will be really fun if you have a lot of other hunters with you, right? Like communicating over the voice chat to tell them, hey, let's lure them up there. They did mention that there is global servers. You can choose, certain language if you just want to have just English only. But there are set messages. So if you want to play with the global server and get access to a bunch of hunters, then they'll have set messages that are auto-translated, so you can still communicate at a basic level with other players. I'm sure they'll have stuff like this, like let's lure the monster, follow me, and stuff like that. I do like that the Agennath can use fire when it's upset, and boom, here we go. King of the Sky and Lord of the Jungle is really ticked off to see the Agennath invading its nest, has forgotten all about everything else, and watch the damage numbers. Like, this Rathalos is messing this monster up. It's a very easy way, I think, to get some... It's like a little Dragonator, right? It's a dragon that you use to do big damage. He's going to smack the Los here and get him to focus on him. One of the cool things, if you notice, the Agennath was like, I'm out of here, and he totally runs away if you look at the map on the bottom left. And now, for the sake of the demo, they're going to engage the Rathalos, despite the fact that their armor is greatly underpowered here. I do like that the Rathalos still has its signature moves, but moves really different, so it's not like you can just fight it the same way mechanically that you've done for years. I like that they've added some twist to the monsters, so that's cool. And the effects are just awesome. So here he's going to call up a flare, so if you start a hunt, you can still do it with 4 people, start a hunt and go into a room, or if you, maybe someone DCs, or let's say you went in there alone and just, because there's so many large monsters, maybe you can find yourself in a pretty hairy situation, you can throw up a flare and you can have instant join in, join out during a quest, which is really cool and a good modern feature. So he's going to call together the other hunters. Obviously they had 3 other guys there, and they're going to join the quest, and the 4 of them are going to show off some multiplayer action. I gotta admit, like, this stuff is really cool. Why they didn't show this during the reveal trailer, I think is dumb, because this is just awesome. So he's going to go here. If you notice, there's a dam up here at the top of the tree. He's going to set a bomb and blow up the dam. This is like environment stuff. Not only can monsters do it, but you can do it. This will send a huge gushing water. Look at this effect. It's amazing. He's going to actually go and get washed up with it, which is funny. This will do a lot of damage to the monster and also knock it on the ground for some massive opportunities to do some big damage. He's going to use a slinger here, catch himself. He can just go down there now, but I think he was showing off what was going on. And then just, go ham on the monster, which is great. You see we have the other hunters in there already. They're just not showing them very well. I wish the stream was a little bit higher definition so we can see the effects of everything they're doing. One thing, if you just rewind and you notice, they did have friendly fire, which I know is really important for the feeling of knowing that you're with other hunters. So having friendly fire, I'm actually really happy about. So the guy on the bottom right has mounted the Rathalos, and they go flying around quite a bit. The guy on the bottom left is using fast travel, which you can do from all the different camps in the big area. Watch him fly off here on the bottom left. Phew! And it's almost seamless. There's like no loading time. It just throws him in there. So just pay attention. It's really interesting if you rewatch this and watch the little boxes to see what each of the hunters are doing. So the Rathalos has taken that hunter on the bottom right, and they're like totally flying to another area. So here they're just going to focus on the hammer. So this is, I think this is Tsujimoto-san, the producer. He loves hammers. And he's got his bugs already set up. They're already tracking the monster, and he's going to try to join them. We'll hear some narration. The girl, the quest girl, is trying to teach him how to use the weapon and stuff like that. So I do like that they're voicing a lot more than just the story, but also tutorials as well. That's really going to help out for players that are new to this game. Or even existing veterans, because I imagine there's a bunch of new stuff. The Rathalos takes a heck of a lot of hits here. That makes me think that either the Rathalos is really strong, or it's not just one hunter knife to rule them all, because he really has a struggle here to knock him down. But when he does, it's pretty cool looking. I think Ryozo has finally found the hunt. There he is. If you pay attention to the bow user on the bottom right, there's some really cool animations where the hunter will scrape the arrows on the ground to make them really hot, charge them up, and then hit the monster. It's super cool. All the weapons seem to have the same attacks that they've had traditionally, but a bunch of new tricks up their sleeve as well. You'll notice the hammer, he's going to be doing a lot of elevation tricks and using the environment to his advantage. Some nice home runs hits right there. Like, look at all these little places he can go up. It's so great. I bet you there's not going to be any styles in this game. They haven't talked about it, and it just seems like it wouldn't, because there's so many new moves for all these hunters for the environment, whether it's sliding down, which we'll see a little bit later, or jumping off of stuff. Here you'll see him cancel out of his potion because the Rathalos was on him. And then they're just going to realize that the Rathalos is probably impossible to kill, so they're going to leave him and then go back to the Aginath and try to take it out before the timer. Because it was a demo version for the shows, there was only a 25-minute timer, so they were fighting against the clock, not only in this hunt, but the other ones that I saw as well. Do take notice of the lance on the bottom middle. They're not really showing it a lot, but the lance did have a weapon with element on it. At this point, it's bottom left, sorry. It has thunder, and I really do like the effects. Yeah, so they're going to give up and go over and find the Aginath here. So they're going to pull up their map. You can see how massive this area is. It's really crazy. And they're going to fast travel to where the Aginath is. I love these little, like, flying creatures. I wonder what they're called, but they're really cool. Watch this. Woohoo! And fly into camp, so very cool. He's going to go and change his weapon. You can now change your weapons mid-quest, which is freaking awesome. In the demos that I saw, he changed from Blade Master to Gunner, which was crazy. As we get a higher definition version of this, we'll real dissect these menus to find out what other type of tidbits we might learn. But here he's switching to the longsword. He'll even show off his palico, which I think is adorable. Like with the semi-realistic graphics. Look at this. Isn't that cute? One of the demos I saw in E3, he put it in like Rathalos armor. It looked so awesome. There are 14 weapons in the game. You cannot play as a prowler, or at least they certainly haven't talked about it, and I highly doubt it. But yeah, he's changing the weapon to his longsword, and he's going to go and fly up. Longsword has a really cool move. You'll see him miss it almost all the time. It's like a supercharged thrust with an upward and downward hit. They have a hard time hitting it, but when it hits big. One thing they're not showing in this demo, but I saw at E3, was there were some areas in which the map, that like a huge boulder, that if you were able to mount or sort of draw the Aginath over to hit it, it would expose a hidden area that you normally couldn't go into. And this kind of reminds me of like the old school Monster Hunter games, right, where like the Baroth in the snowy like area would knock over the rocks before it died. But if you get access to it in an area, it could have some rare gathering spots and stuff like that. So I love the idea of the more you play, the more you know the environment, the cooler stuff you're going to do. Now, in traditional Monster Hunter style, they're going to barrel bomb sleep this monster. So it's good to see that all the traditions of Monster Hunter are back. Sleep bombing, definitely a fun pastime that everyone likes to do. Listen to the effects. It's really amazing. I love it. It is so cool. I love it. In this next area where the Aginath is going to move, it's on a steep decline, and if you notice, in all the demos I've seen, every weapon has a massive, like, if you're on an incline, you can slide down. I think it's an actual button input you do to slide, maybe like hold down run or something, but there's tons of like aerial style moves you can do if you're sliding downhill, so they're going to show that off. This is the area where they had the paralysis frogs, and if you kick them, they'll create like the paralysis mist. You'll see up here. He kicks it, and then the little mist down there. There we go. But now they're going to switch to hammer so you can check out this cool move. Wham, 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 wham. That is so bling. Oh my gosh. They're going to show it again because Yozo really likes the hammer. So he's like, no, I'm going to show it again. We're going to do it again. That's so cool. And he mounts him. Oh my gosh, how can you not be hyped for this? I'm sorry. This is just insane. I really like it. Now, this time they were getting a little worried because they were running out of time. If you notice, the arrow user uses like these cluster shots over here on his butt, which are going to blow up. So it's nice to know that when you mount a monster, it's organic. It's not like there's a meter and, other attacks don't count. Like, it's all realistic. So they're definitely revamping some of their more recent ideas with the system, which is great. Some good downs there. Awesome super uppercut. If you recognize that charge slash, it reminds me of the Brave style. And also even Adept. There's one where you can double charge it and do that super hit, so it makes me think that they've really taken all the cool ideas from the style and have baked it into the weapons. We also saw, if you rewind, the hammer user able to launch another player, so being able to launch someone into an aerial attack is back in this game, which is cool. Action is crazy. When I was seeing this at E3, we had a thing where both the Rathalos and the Agennath were in the same area and wouldn't leave, and things got really crazy for a long time, and I was really impressed that the frame rate, which was at 30 frames per second, was able to maintain through almost all of it with 4 players and those monsters going at it. And this game is slated at 65% done, so very impressive what they've done with their MT framework. This is definitely something that I think is only possible on more higher end consoles. Very cool. Now with the gunner and all those scenes, it's not just a Gatling gun. You just don't run around shooting monsters. They're all special types of shots. There's a whole lot of different types of shots and ways to play, so definitely a lot of good variation, but not like they're breaking the system completely or anything like that. At this point they were just desperate. Watch the longsword user blow it here. Goes in, ching, oh no! If he actually hits that hit, you can jump up in the air and do a downward strike. It's really awesome. We saw it once at E3. It seems to be like the big attack, and every weapon apparently has one. Some, like, they call it owaza in Japanese, but just means a huge super attack. Here he goes again. Jumps up. Boom! And I don't know if he hit him or not, but that's a pretty cool attack. You'll notice a lot of the attacks use the verticality because there's so many levels of verticality in this game. And now Agennath is now limping and running away right as the timer is going down. This is a good time for me to call out. Look at the sharpness meter on the upper left. You'll notice that as you attack, your sharpness meter actually depletes, so you always know where you're at. Like, you'll know when you're about to run out of green sharpness, and I think that is an awesome addition. I'm very happy to see that they add. You also see throughout a lot of these scenes, like, there's shortcuts that you can do and all sorts of cool other UI tweaks. I also like that the UI does not seem too invasive. Like, you still get a huge portion of the screen that you can watch and play. So that's great, because I mean, I'm not a fan of games in which the UI takes up like 45% of the screen. Yes, Dissidia, I'm looking at you. I'll probably get hate for that in the comments, but you know, it's a personal thing. So they're going to run and just try to track down this monster. At this point, they probably should just use fast travel and then caught it up where it was heading, but I think they just wanted to show off the screen. So now the hunter on the top is going to put on the Rocksteady mantle. I forgot they showed it here. It's just not in English. So while he has that on, you'll see a little recharge gauge on the upper left. It's like a cooldown thing. I don't know if you only get it once or you can use it multiple times, but it does last for about 60 seconds. This gives him Rocksteady, so he gets less reactions when he's hit, and he takes slightly less damage. And here they go, they're going to go crazy and just start really whamming on the monster here. Traditional type of 4-man style. We'll see if they can kill it or not. Yeah, this is the stuff they should have showed in the trailer. This is hype. This is awesome, isn't it? Certainly feels like they're fighting a living monster. Like, I don't know, it's great. I'm a huge fan. The longsword user keeps blowing it. He keeps trying to do that attack and he doesn't nail it every time. Poor guy. And you can see that even the developers, they don't know what's going to happen during the live demo. So I'm happy they were able to kill it, because a lot of times on like Capcom TV, they fail to. They're going to carve here, and you'll see this nice little like wiping off the sweat on the brow after you carve. It's a nice little touch. I like it. Carve its, I think they broke off its snout as well, maybe? I don't know. But it was an awesome demo. I think if you're not convinced that this is not a game you want, then I don't know, man. This is pretty sweet. You get the nice kill screen that we can see, and also the reward boxes. So this is Monster Hunter. This is Monster Hunter 5. They just decided to stay away from numbering because for people it seems a little unapproachable if you say like it's the 5th one. And they wanted to go for a more descriptive title, which being a living, breathing world and being a worldwide release was Monster Hunter World. So hope you guys enjoyed this 24-minute gameplay. I hope you enjoyed my commentary, and hopefully I helped flesh out some of the stuff. I'm sorry I blab so much, but I'm hyped. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and put a like. Let me know down in comments which part of the hunt you like the most and what you're looking forward to. And please subscribe if you haven't already. It actually does mean a lot to me. Thank you guys again. And until next time, happy hunting.